Alright guys, so today we are talking about drones, and specifically we are talking about ND filters, because I used to own I still do own the Phantom 4 drone, and we did have filters for it, but we never really had a strong enough ND filter to actually like compete with the sun and get our shutter speed down to the 1/50th over a second, which is where it should be if you're shooting in 24 frames per second. But today is a great day because we finally have the Mavic 2 Pro, and we've got the Fly More kit, which comes with 3 batteries, some like sick chargers, so we can actually fly this thing long enough to do some tests with it. So in addition, we picked up these, I'm not sponsored, but these are the Freewell limited edition filter packs. It's got a 4, an ND8, ND16, ND32, ND64, and an ND1000, which I think is really only used for like long exposure photography with drones, which we won't be doing today, but we'll throw it on and see how it looks and what it means for the drone. So this is the maiden flight of this drone. We have not flown this drone yet today. So here it is. It is just so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna get this thing set up, and then we'll throw some filters on and go from there. These look really nice. So first impressions of these things is like the packaging quality is impressive. These kind of have like a nice magnet feel to the case, which I wasn't even expecting a case like this, to be honest. And they look so slick, like really well packaged in here, and they look really cool. So nice job Freewell. So one thing that I love about this drone already compared to the Phantom 4 is it has aperture control. So it can go up to f11, I guess, which can help with your exposure a ton, whereas in the Phantom 4 all you had was your shutter speed. That was the only way that you could adjust exposure, but this one you can control your aperture and your shutter speed. So currently, as it stands in the bright sunlight, we're at f11 and the shutter speed of 1/60th. So I'd love to get this thing down to an aperture of like 4 with our shutter speed of 50, but for our first flight we're just going to go without any ND filters, see what kind of exposure we get, and go from there. Alright, so just bringing the drone back. First flight seems amazing. You can already tell that like the color rendition with having 10-bit color on this drone is going to be huge. But yeah, my exposure is just like blown out. My shutter speed's at 240, f11. We're just doing auto exposure for now, but once we get those ND filters on, we're going to start doing some manual exposure and make sure we lock this thing in. So I'm going to bring it back. We'll throw one of those ND filters on and toss it up again. Alright, so you obviously have to be pretty delicate with this thing, and it works okay. You just kind of have to apply some pressure. Make sure you're not putting too much pressure on the gimbal, and then you kind of twist it. So I'm going to see if I can get it off without doing any damage. First day of owning the freaking drone, we like rip the gimbal off. Oh, I got it. There we go. First piece off. And we can store it in here, it looks like, which is nice, having that little storage area. And then we're going to toss on ND4, and it has a PL filter on it, which is nice. Oh, cool too. So the little feet on this, they actually like have one bigger corner, so that's how you line it up. So you don't have to be confused like which way to put it on. That's kind of cool. And there you go, just snaps on. And the polarizer looks like you can twist it, so the polarizer actually moves. These guys were pretty thorough. That's sweet. So for the sake of being like semi-scientific, I think we're gonna try and set the shutter speed at 1/50th if we possibly can, and then see where we have to set our aperture or any of our other settings to kind of compensate so we can get the most cinematic footage. I don't think an ND4 is gonna be quite enough to let us get down all the way to shutter speed of 1/50th, but we'll see. Okay, so currently we've got our settings at 1/50th of a second. Our aperture is at 11, which is as high as it can go, and our ISO is at 100. And we do have all of our waveforms in. It kind of has the live view on right now. So if you click this, it kind of shows you a more colorful what it's going to look like. So we can turn that off. But our waveform says we have all exposure in currently, which is really good with only an ND4. But we're facing away from the sun, so we'll see how it goes. Alright, so we're in the air, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but we've got the zebra bars on, and with an ND4, we're getting a little bit of blowout in the sky. So not too bad, actually. I'm kind of impressed with just an ND4 for a sunny day. So if we were just filming down here, I mean, we got full exposure, so that's pretty impressive. So let's bring her down. We can toss a stronger ND on and see where it goes. This is with an ND8. We've got full exposure so far. Which is great. I tried spinning the polarizer filter and I'm not really noticing any difference in the skies or anything in terms of for getting any more details or beautiful highlights or anything like that, but we'll toss it up and see if we see any difference. This is the first time I've actually shot with a shutter speed of 1/50th with a drone, so it's pretty exciting. I don't know if we'll be able to see how it translates in the camera, but it's pretty cool. Second flight, we had the ND filter 8 on it. Shutter speed was at 1/50th for the first time, and our aperture was at 11, and we had full exposure, so it's a pretty good start. But now we want to put on the other ND filters that are a little bit stronger and see if we can start bringing our aperture down, get a little bit of depth of field. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But it's a bright sunny day, so if you're ever shooting anything less than a bright sunny day, you're gonna know exactly what kind of ND filter you should be using. Okay, we just swapped on the ND16 with the polarizer filter right out the gate with the shutter still at 1/50th of a second. Our aperture at f11, we're underexposed by 1.3 stops. So that's good. That means we can actually up our aperture and see how far we can get it. I don't know how to do it yet though. This is my first time. Looks like you can just use this dial. So we're down to f7.1. Shutter speed 1/50th. Let's see if we can turn the polarizer filter and if it'll do anything for us in terms of the skies. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. Send it up again. So just looking at the brightest part of the sky, we're still getting a little bit of blowout. So when we go down to 7.1, 6.3, 5.6, we're still getting quite a bit of blowout in the skies. So we've got another ND filter we can toss on here, see if we can maximize our exposure. I think it looks so good though. I'm just blown away by this thing. Alright, so we just threw on the ND32. It's worth noting the sun did go behind the clouds a little bit, but it still will likely blow out the sky, so I'll show you guys on here what that all looks like. But let's toss it up. Okay, we just flicked it into sports mode. Let's see how quick this thing can go. It's at the bridge in like no time. So the 32 gets us pretty well to like an f4 with a 50th shutter speed. It looks friggin' butter. So jacked. In sport mode, holy danger. We've got the ND64 on there. our shutter speed is at 1/50th, our ISO is at 100, our f-stop is at 2.8, which is as shallow as this lens can go. But typically you don't actually want to go as shallow as you can go on most lenses. They aren't actually their sharpest at their most shallow. So this is more just for experimental purposes, but we are at 2.8. We do have a slight amount of blowout just on the clouds over there. But for the most part, we're retaining all the information in the highs and lows, which is just so sick. It looks like exactly like Lord of the Rings. The dead marshes, you know, when Smeagol and Frodo and Sam are walking through and there's the dead people in the water. This is it. This is it. Hey. Why is it doing that? Okay guys, so there you have it. We threw on all the ND filters onto the brand new Mavic 2 Pro, and you can kind of see how far you have to go down to the 64 ND to make sure that you can stop down all the way to 2.8 without using any ISO to maximize exposure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of insightful vlog. It was very insightful for me to see kind of how far we had to go down. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you own a Mavic 2? And do you own ND filters? Do you think they're necessary? I think I will probably be doing drone tips for car videos. So stay tuned. I will be doing one of those in the future. I just need to get a cooler car than my Honda Civic to do that. But yeah guys, thanks for sticking around. Like this video, subscribe if you're into this stuff, and we will see you in the next one. Peace. Also, Mitchell was recording everything. Thanks, Mitchell. And we didn't get in any trouble today, so that's good. When we showed up, there was helicopters everywhere, and planes, like low-flying planes. So we didn't know if we were gonna get to do this, but we did.